Okay, great. So yeah, hi everyone. This is Nadia from China Admissions, and today we have Westlake University, who will present about their PhD programs in chemistry and also physics. Sorry, so it's PhD in chemistry and physics program from Westlake University. But before we are going any further with the presentation, I will share with you some of like one video about Westlake University, so you can see how beautiful the campus is, and you can see the greatness of Westlake University that they will offer to you, future international students.
Westlake University is a new type of high-quality, research-oriented university. We are the first privately funded research university in modern China, and we aim to be a reformer in our system. Westlake University was founded by the Westlake Education Foundation, a non-profit charity organization, and governed by the Board of Trustees, which decides on all important matters relating to university development.
It has risks, but if you are really bold, you can come and really make a bigger difference. And you can be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. We want everybody to have fun at the school, to do the things you love.
You become part of an international community with students and faculties coming from all over the world. Although diverse in culture and scientific backgrounds, they share a common interest in pursue new knowledge and to find the solutions to bigger problems facing humankind.
Westlake attracted me because of the freedom to explore many of the research areas and also promotes the true collaborations, sufficient fundings, and also a very unique evaluation system.
You basically have fantastic resources. You have all sorts of different equipments that me as an environmental scientist I would never think about. But then since I'm exposed to, physicists, colleagues from medical sciences, we talk about different angles of questions that we're interested in. And then we have lots of freedom to explore these ideas. That's what actually makes this place, I think, fantastic. It's the resources, it's the shared facilities that we have, and also first and foremost, I guess, the people.
When I first came to Hangzhou, I did not realize what a hidden gem this place is. Being located so close to Shanghai, and it's also a great and increasingly international city. When you come, there is this wonderful blend of the ancient and the ultra-modern. You can't walk down the street without seeing a beautiful ancient temple.
Actually, there is such a multitude of birds I have never seen, and you wouldn't expect that because it's a 10 million or 9 million city, but there is quite a lot of nature. So culture, nature, science, and great people here.
Of course, we're all incredibly excited to move into our new stunning state-of-the-art Yungu campus. With the price tag of over $1.5 billion and sitting at over 180 football fields in size, every inch of Yungu campus has been intelligently designed by international experts with functionality, sustainability, and comfort in mind to give our scientists and students a world-class research campus experience. We are confident Yungu campus will be recognized as one of the most beautiful, modern, and advanced campuses in the world.
If you are looking for a place to try out your new ideas, push your research potential, collaborate with like-minded scholars, and contribute to the future of humanity for the better, we warmly welcome you to join our Westlake community. We hope you will come and join us.
So yeah, that's a wonderful introduction about Westlake University. And today we have the Westlake University School of Science here with us to share more about the PhD program in chemistry and physics for international students. So before we go any further with the presentation from Westlake University, I will firstly introduce the team of Westlake University that will be here today and share the information with all of you guys. So firstly, we have Mr. Derek Mayer, who is the Senior Manager of International Affairs of the Office of International Affairs at Westlake University, and he will share about the admissions information for PhD students in this 2023 intake. And also we have Dr. Zhang Xin, PhD, who is the professor of chemistry and cell biology of Westlake University, and he will share more about the PhD in chemistry program. And last but not least, we have Dr. Liu Shi, PhD, who is the principal investigator and also the assistant professor of physics, and he will share more about the PhD in physics program of Westlake University. So I hope you all enjoyed the session today from Westlake University. And remember, guys, we also have a Q&A session at the end of this interesting webinar. So if you have any questions in mind, you can just write it down on the Q&A box. So don't wait until the end. You can just write it down on the Q&A box, and then we will discuss all of your questions together in the end of the presentation. So I hope you enjoy this presentation today. And yeah, please welcome Mr. Derek Mayer from Westlake University.
Great. Thank you so much, Nadia. Go ahead and share the video real quick. Okay. And second. Okay, great. First of all, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, depending on where you are calling in from the world. Welcome to this presentation with the School of Science and Westlake University. We have two great professors who are going to come and speak to you about the different programs. First of all is going to be chemistry, so our PhD in chemistry, be Dr. Xinjiang, and also later on, Dr. Liu will also give a presentation on our joint PhD in physics program with Fudan University. And we go too much farther. I want to go through our kind of the itinerary for this event. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about who we are, but I think in a lot of ways, I'll get into this as we move on. But in some ways, this is kind of where we are. I'm thinking about this kind of spatially, because in spatial, how a lot of our ethos and our ideology is actually, and our sort of core visions for the university is built into the architecture of our university, the campus itself. But then also we're rooted in the local. We're rooted in a beautiful city called Hangzhou, and we'll share a little bit about that, but it's a great location. Then also we're also rooted in the global as well, where a lot of our focus is international. We're focused on the global as well. And so we'll kind of go through what do we mean by international and by global, and how are we rooted in both the local and both the international as well. And then also I'll go over the admissions and also scholarships. Today we'll go over a lot about the fellowship. So it's not exactly a scholarship. You get to know more about basically our full ride tuition, scholarships, fellowships for a PhD program for international students. And then, like I mentioned, we'll go into the PhD program in chemistry, and then physics, and also the Q&A session. And Nadia already pointed this out, but throughout this whole event, you can actually go to the Q&A and you can write in questions. Just so if I say something or the other professors, they say something, just go ahead and write it in and we can do it at the end. Also, I will give you a moment to look at this page. The most important part about this, I'm going to pause here for a moment. It has my information, but the most important thing is if you're able to use your phone and scan a QR code, I would say go to here to the PhD programs. If you scan this to go directly to our page, it has lots of information about our admissions and other things about the program in general. We'll go over all the materials you need, but you can find it there as well. Also, if you want to reach out to me directly, there's my email here at derek@westlake.edu, or if you'd like to reach out to our department and also ask questions about our programs, it's INTL, PhD admissions at Westlake.edu. So International PhD Admissions by INTL. Okay, I'll stop here for just a moment in case you'd like to jot down the email addresses or you'd like to scan the QR code. Okay, moving on. Okay, like I mentioned, so who we are. This is really, I'm going to talk about this spatially and focus on focus on our campus. And so it has a spatial dynamic. I'll get into a bit more, but you can kind of see here, this horseshoe-shaped building here is called our academic ring. And it's highlighted in blue here. This is the School of Science. But something that's really unique about our university is I like to think about it actually as the laboratory itself. It's an academic laboratory. It's a living laboratory where essentially we have the three different schools. So the School of Science, we have the School of Engineering, we have the School of Life Sciences as well. And so essentially our idea is to put all the different programs together into one building, the laboratory is one building. And this really is a way to kind of promote cross-disciplinary research and to promote dialogue. And we'll get into it more in just a minute. Okay, but first of all, I'll go back to the idea of the local. So we are in Hangzhou. It's a beautiful city, like I said, but we're literally surrounded by UNESCO World Heritage Site. So our namesake Westlake comes from Westlake, the actual UNESCO Heritage Site. As you can see, there's some pictures up here at the top. But it's, as long as I understand it correctly, it's not just the lake itself. There's a whole area, which I'll show you a map here in a minute. There's a whole area where it has great hiking. I myself, I love hiking, I love biking, I love outdoor things. And so it's a great place where you're able to really enjoy the outdoors. There's great culture. Back in the Song Dynasty, essentially it's around 1,000 years old. During the Song Dynasty, it was a center for all throughout Asia, but definitely for China, for poetry, literature, art. And so it was a very art focused kind of city. And a lot of those artists were academics in a way, if you know Chinese history. And so that idea of literature, art, academics, that's really kind of built into our namesake. But also you can see here at the bottom, Hangzhou is also quite modern. It's a center for a lot of technology. I think it's kind of a battle between Shenzhen and Hangzhou for which one is sort of the Silicon Valley of China. But there's a lot of tech companies here as well. Alibaba, there's a lot of medical companies, and so we're surrounded by a mixture of scientific and medical industries that all kind of feed into this wonderful city that's really has the traditional mixed with the modern as well. It was also in that video you probably saw at the very beginning. This is a close-up of a part of Westlake. It's a very famous pagoda. If you're into the story, there's a story called about Whitesnake. So if you can look that up, that's I won't get into it here, but there's a major folklore associated with this pagoda and with part of the lake as well, Westlake. This one here, so this is a pretty good photograph, but I think this is actually, I didn't include it, but if we were to, if I could turn you around. So this is part of Westlake, but if you were to turn around, this is actually a very modern part of Hangzhou as well. There's this great shopping, there's great, there's an Apple store there, there's all kinds of shopping. Just to illustrate that you're literally, sometimes you're looking this way and you're seeing some traditional things, some culture, then you turn around and right there's many modern amenities, great transportation, subways and everything like that. Just another photograph of kind of the mixture of the lake that goes around and the, excuse me, the more modern main city area. Okay, so kind of going back to the idea of the UNESCO heritage site. So if I'm correct, I may be wrong, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this whole center here in the middle where it's green and also has Westlake, I believe that is the UNESCO heritage site. So there's many things to do beyond the lake, like I said before, but then Yunxi campus was actually our first campus, and we still have quite a few laboratories there. If you come to our campus, there's probably a chance to do some classes there. There may be some research facilities you might use there. But our Yungu campus really is our new campus, our main campus, and it's sort of the center of things as we're doing going forward. Okay, so there are our twin campuses. They are some of the most modern and innovative campuses in Asia. Westlake University fosters innovation through cross-district collaboration. And I'm going to go back to that real quick because this is another photo. I think the other one was just a drawing. So here you can see the actual academic ring. It's this horseshoe type shaped area, but really it's like I was saying before, it's a living laboratory, and that you are going to be bumping into engineers, you're going to be bumping into biologists, depending on your major. And so we're really hoping that this will kind of bump off each other, where maybe there's something where maybe you're going to be in the physics program, but you learn something from chemistry, and either through classes or just from talking to your colleagues or talking to your classmates. This might actually, we're hoping this leads to some real innovations, and it has already, but we're hoping that it's this style of interdisciplinary research will really focus on producing those kind of research breakthroughs in the future. But you can see also like there's good food on campus as well, like there's just Western cuisine. It's actually on each campus, but they have like tacos, but there's also great food on campus too that's Chinese focused as well. But there's different options as well. Okay, it's another focus. Maybe I'll just mention real quick. So I'm not sure if you can see my pointer here, but I would say probably half the campus, this upper part, sorry, I would say to the west, so the left hand of the page, this has all been built. I would say this is the heart of the campus. This is the academic ring. We have our administrative buildings. We have a wonderful, still working on a little bit, the sports facilities, but there's going to be, we're growing. And so I would say within the next 4 years, we'll have a beautifully completed campus. And so these areas down here are being worked on to the right hand, but that will all be completed very soon. Okay, there's a picture of Yunxi campus. As I mentioned, there's quite a few laboratories there, but many are moving as well to Yungu. Okay, so Westlake University is the first research university in China established through philanthropic support. So it's not exactly quite the same as, let's say there's the tradition of the American/German research university. It's a little bit like that, where there's possibly an endowment. It's not exactly the same. It definitely has a, it's unique to China, but it sort of have this, it's rooted sort of in the tradition of this German, Western American research university. And I mentioned before, we're an international university. This is through many different things. I'll get through some slides here in a minute. There's even here on the right, but you'll see that a lot of our, pretty much not all of them, but I would say the vast majority of our faculty have a lot of international experience. They either were teaching or working or studying abroad. The other faculty also are very much rooted in the global as well. As I mentioned before, we're also a close-knit community focusing on pushing the frontiers of science, scientific research, and it has a lot to this idea of being a community of scientists and having this interdisciplinary focus and collaboration. And as just mentioned, 94% of our faculty have previously held positions and studied at world-class universities all over the world. Chinese and English are both working languages. And so what that means is on this next line, so you can see all of our courses are in English. You can take some Chinese classes. It's as part of your requirements. And so you will study Chinese a little bit. And so depending on how much Chinese you have your ability before you come here, it should at least be enough to kind of get you around. And I believe you have to pass HSK4 but by the time you graduate. So we'll be studying Chinese, but all of your other classes will all be in English. You will hear Chinese on campus. You'll hear it all over Hangzhou, obviously. But if you have any issues, everyone will be able to help you with English as well. Also, the idea of international collaborations and exchanges. This would be a requirement. So I'll point out a few. So you'll definitely have opportunities when you're doing your research. You can go to international academic conferences and to be able to present your research. There's an opportunity to go for a semester or a full year. You can have a cooperation with, let's say we find a faculty or PI in another country, another university. You can actually do an exchange. You can go there and do research for up to a full year. There'll be a collaboration between yourself, your advisor here in Westlake, then also your advisor at that country abroad. Also, it's possible to study abroad. It's less common for PhD students, but if you have a hankering, we have over 20 different partnerships with universities in America, in Australia, Europe as well. So if you would like to study abroad, we could probably find a way to expand it and make sure that everyone has different forms of international experiences besides coming and studying in China. Okay, just to kind of give you a bit more of a breakdown, as you can see, a lot of our faculty, they actually came from America as far as where they studied. So Harvard, Yale, Princeton, MIT, Stanford, UPenn, a lot of American universities. In fact, it's just by coincidence, I'm actually from Ohio. And then our two faculty who will speak later, they both have connections to Pennsylvania. So we kind of have a Midwestern thing going on here today. But also we have faculty who have trained in UK as well, but then also in China and also in Australia. Okay, this kind of gives a picture of the overall, how things will be by 2026. As I mentioned before, the campus probably will be fully finished. There will be over 300 different faculty, so assistant professors, associate professors, chair professors, 900 postdoctoral fellows. For international students, we have a pretty bold idea for undergraduate students. I know that's a little bit different than this topic, but we're looking for 50-50 international students, 50-50 undergraduates. That's a pretty bold idea for that. But also we're going to admit a lot of international PhD students as well. So we're really looking to have a great mix of diversity on our campus. And also we'll have 600 research staff, teaching staff to export, administrative staff as well. Okay, I just want to have this last one here, this last slide about research. And so some of these facilities are not actually within the School of Science, but I just want to emphasize that this is a research university. And I think it's pretty unique in China, but also possibly in other countries as well, that when you come to this program, starting on day one, you'll be in a research laboratory. And so every faculty on campus, they have their own research laboratory. And so as you have your faculty advisor, you'll be working in their laboratory. And basically, they'll be mentoring you, you'll be working on research, but you will be basically from the moment you get here until you graduate, you'll be doing some form of research in one of our laboratories. And a lot of these are very high tech, some of the best in the region, I would say, and in the world. Okay, so that's kind of the spatial idea of who we are, where we are, and I'm going to get into nuts and bolts. Probably a lot of people are very interested in the admissions process, and then also our scholarships as well. Okay, so the major eligibility is that you have previously attained a master's degree in a related field, and of course you'd be an international student, so there's also a requirement that you're not a citizen of China. But that's the major thing, is that you've already had a master's degree, and then you're applying to our program. The application deadline is quickly approaching. It is March 31st. So that's about a month, roughly approximately a month. And after materials review, there will be an interview. I'm going to jump back to this later. The interview is very, very important, but I'm going to come back to that because the first I want to talk about the materials and that part of the application. So here's the general process. So first you apply, you will go into our online system, you upload all of your materials. There'll be a materials review with the admissions committees. And then I would say that your materials are very, very important because it really is a select few that will then go onto the interview process. And as I mentioned, the interview is very important, but just as important is how you present yourself within your materials. Now, I would say a big thing about getting into the application materials is your personal statement. Now, I think this is a little bit different than other universities, and it may not, I think it may not be so obvious if you look at just the description of it, but so it should be over 1,500 words. So it's a long one, and there's no requirement for how short it can be. So it would be maybe a little bit overblown if you were to send us like a 5,000 page personal statement, but you could do that. If you really felt that you had something that you wanted to show us, if you really thought that would help you, then by all means go for it. But there is a requirement that should be over 1,500 words. And part of the reason for this is it is sort of, I think different people have different ideas of a personal statement and then also your research proposal. This is really a combination. It's kind of a hybrid. So you should have all the things you have in a personal statement where I think about it sort of as a time frame. So you have your past, present, future. First, you have your past. So what was your education? What are some achievements, in undergrad, in your master's program? What are you currently doing? Are you currently inventing a new polymer that's going to change the world? Are you currently working in a laboratory? What are you doing exactly right now? And how does that connect to what we're doing here at Westlake? And then the most important probably is going to be your future. So I would say as you're writing what you want to do at Westlake, connect it to our faculty. So go ahead and go on our website and we'll have all the information we can show you later. But research our faculty. So how could you do research with them? How does your previous experience, your previous research, how does that connect to what we do here in Westlake? How do your goals match with us? Are the research facilities that are only here in Westlake? There might be these sort of things we can research what we have, but make those connections between your past, present, and then what you could do here at Westlake. And then going to 2 recommendation letters. These should be from full professors. And so they should be from your previous professor, someone who knows you well and knows your research potential. And then for the rest, for these here, just needs to be PDFs. So your all diplomas, so PDFs of that. We'll ask for originals later. All your transcripts, evidence of English language proficiency, that's IELTS 6.5 or above, TOEFL 90 or above. And another part that's really important is your academic writing sample. On our website, it says that it's not compulsory, but I would say definitely send us your best work. So if you publish work, if you publish papers in academic journals, send us the good material. If you don't have that, don't worry about it. But you probably have something. You probably have a section of your master's thesis that you're really proud of. Maybe there was just a course you took where it was just you thought the writing quality was excellent, or you explored some theory that maybe you didn't have the opportunity to express it in a research laboratory, but you were able to write it really well in a paper. But sending us some kind of writing sample will let our RPI and the admissions committees kind of know your focus and your writing potential and your overall research potential. Okay, now getting into the fellowship. So I know we called it scholarships, but it really our program here at the moment is going to be a fellowship. But basically, if you apply and you go through the process of doing the application, then doing the interview, and you get into our program, you will get this fellowship. And so this is available to all admitted PhD students in our program. It's going to cover full tuition, so it covers all tuition costs. Also, it's going to cover your student fees. So that's going to be your health insurance. It's going to be like maybe there's library fees, those kinds of like common campus fees would cover that as well. So we don't have to worry about that. There's also a monthly stipend. So this is also, it's together. So basically, if you get into the program, you'd also get this monthly stipend as well. But it changes. So I wrote approximately because it may change every year. Maybe it's updated. At this moment, it's approximately 6,000 RMB per month while you're doing your coursework. So you have 1 year of doing your coursework. And then after you pass your qualifying examinations, it will be approximately 7,500 per month. Now that's basically it. So we're gonna stop right here because we have, there's a lot of information we want to go through with our faculty today. And so if you have some questions, so we kind of went through the admissions part, we went through the fellowships fairly quickly. Like I said before, you can ask us, a Q&A at the end. You can always reach out to me and set up an online appointment. I'll jump on Zoom. I can answer any of your questions. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. Xinjiang, who's professor of chemistry and biology, the Laboratory of Biological Aggregates, Department of Chemistry. So Professor Dr. Xinjiang, he's a former faculty member at Pennsylvania State University. He completed a postdoctoral fellowship at Scripps Research Institute with Professor Jeffrey W. Kelly. He holds a doctoral degree in chemistry from the California Institute of Technology. He also holds a master's degree from the Dalian Institute of Chemical Physics and a bachelor's degree from the University of Science and Technology of China. He's also a recipient of numerous prestigious awards and honors, including the esteemed ACS Nobel Laureate Signature Award for Graduate Education. Without further ado, I will
let Dr. Zhang take the podium. Thank you, Derek. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you here. So I'm going to introduce the PhD program or graduate program of chemistry. How would I advance? Okay, right here. All right. So the PhD program in chemistry is a very special program here in China. So we hold a high standard of both faculty and students. So we prepare future scholars to be professional teachers and researchers at the highest level in the future. The PhD program in chemistry is a really, okay, thank you. So it's really to try to achieve excellence in chemical sciences. So we really encourage strong interdisciplinary connections across other fields, such as physical sciences, including physics and mathematics, medicine, engineering, and material sciences. Just like myself, I have joint appointments in both School of Life Sciences and School of Engineering. That means my research is not only in chemistry, but also in biological sciences and biomedical engineering. Just like my lab, many other labs in the chemistry department conduct research in a very interdisciplinary manner. So we really encourage innovation. In addition to research, we celebrate the diversity in our department, including gender, nationality, and other aspects of beliefs. And we also encourage collaborative efforts to conduct research and study in courses and also in research activities. We now have about 23 research groups in different areas that cover primary area of chemistry, including organic chemistry, inorganic, physical, material, and a new discipline is also a very strong in our department, that's chemical biology. We have a total of 41 faculty members. A lot of them are leading scientists and researchers across the world. We have a focus on innovation, and we have a strong track record of publication, and our graduate students are from world-class, our faculties are graduates from world-class universities, and many of them also have taught or have done research in world-class universities. So we have a lot of experience to build a world-leading chemistry department in China. We started our graduate program in 2018 with a small class. And after 5 years now, we already have 147 graduate students in our department. All of them are pursuing PhD. And these students are from China and international countries. So this is a very diverse group of students and faculty members. So we are a group of faculty who are enthusiastic and also experienced. And many of us, as I said, are from top universities like MIT, and I'm from Caltech, and I was a faculty member at Penn State University in the chemistry department. Many other faculty members are from Harvard, Stanford, Columbia, and Princeton. We are committed to supporting you in achieving your academic and personal goals. And our goal is in particular to have you as a graduate student to have a happy 5 years or 4 years at Westlake. So I'm gonna go over very briefly the list of faculty members in different disciplines. On this slide, you'll see our faculty members in organic synthesis, catalysis, and chemical biology. About 5 of us, including Professor Dan Yang, Li Hanzhang, Mingxuan Wu, Xin Zhang, and Yuxuan Ye, we are working in the interface between chemistry and biology. So we are called chemical biology. So we work on medicines, bioengineering, protein chemistry, biological sciences, and biocatalysis. And other faculty members are working on various end of a methodology development for chemical catalysis, and also total synthesis of natural products. And over here, Professor Dan Yang, Li Deng, and myself have worked in US or Hong Kong universities. Professor Yang was a professor at Hong Kong University, and Professor Li Deng was a professor at Brown Test Chemistry, and he was the chair of Brown Test Chemistry. He's now the chair of our department. In material chemistry side, we also have quite a few professors, including Chen Hongyu, who was a professor at Nanyang Technology University, Nanyang Institute of Technology, and also Professor Cheng Jianjun, who was a chair professor at Material Science Department at UIUC, and Professor Huang Jiaxing was a professor at Material Science at Northwestern in the United States. So quite a few of us are conducting leading research projects that are coming from our US working experiences and also are from our China working experiences. In physical, computational, and theoretical chemistry, we also have a strong group, about 8 faculty members. Professor Sun Licheng was a chair professor in Sweden, and he's also a National Academy member in China. And Professor Wang Hongfei was a scientist at PNL, and he works on physical chemistry. And Professor Dou Wenjie and Gu Bing are on theoretical chemistry, and others on experimental physical chemistry. So the graduate program in chemistry is a very comprehensive and research-oriented curriculum. We encourage our students to conduct cutting-edge research in a wide range of subfields within chemistry. And our faculty members provide strong mentorship and guidance to our students on a daily basis. And on Westlake campus, the students would have access to state-of-art facilities. This access is not only having experiments done on these instruments, but also students would operate these instruments on their own. And these instruments are accessible 24/7. That means whenever you want to have a sample tested and measured, you would have the accessibility to operate on the instrument by yourself. The university provides professional development opportunities together with the department. So our students will know what they want to do during their graduate school, and they will focus on these aspects and better achieve the career goal right after graduation. In addition to research and study, we encourage our students to achieve a work-life balance. And remember, you're spending the best 4 years of your life in graduate school, that's in your 20s. And we want you to have fun. So your life at Westlake is not only in the lab or classroom, but also outside. Like Derek said, Hangzhou is a beautiful city. It has national sceneries and historical sites. We want you to explore Hangzhou and other cities in China to have your experience full of joy and also achievements. The 4-year program at Westlake Chemistry is like following. You would have coursework in the first year, and there's a literature seminar that you present an area by analyzing several important papers. And by the end of the first year, you would have a good idea of what your thesis would be. So you will present your thesis proposal in front of your thesis committee. And that committee is to help you better prepare your thesis and conduct your research. And the qualification exam is in the end of the second year. This is to understand whether you have prepared yourself for a PhD degree. For example, are you ready for independent thinking? Can you understand your thesis proposal in a comprehensive way and also in great depth? Are you able to independently conduct experiments and solve problems? And more importantly, are you able to connect your research to a broader field of chemistry? The progress of your thesis will be reviewed in the third year, and this review is to help you really on track. So your you're in good shape to defend yourself, defend your thesis in the year 4, by the end of year 4. You note there's a gray box labeled as research proposal. That means other orange boxes are required exams or courseworks for the PhD program. This gray box is optional. And this gray box is basically ask you to propose one project that's either in or out of your research field and compose a complete research proposal. And that is to prepare you to be an independent researcher and start your career after your PhD. So this entire design of 4-year program is like US institutions, very much like Penn State and others. We train you in research. We train you in achieving what you want to do in graduate school. And we also train you to be independent researcher in future career. We also have courses. The gray boxes are required courses and the blue boxes are elective courses. You will be asked to take several courses from these to satisfy the minimum requirement of the graduate program in chemistry. And in the 5 research areas, organic chemistry is basically focused on the synthetic strategies, making new synthetic platforms to developing functional molecules and activation strategies for chemical bonds. More importantly, we want you to make more new molecules that are useful. And these are 2 papers from our groups in 2022. In inorganic chemistry, the focus is to develop methods and applications on inorganic materials, including metals, minerals, and organometallic compounds. We want you to know how you can come up with these new structures and how you can apply them on important things. For physical chemistry, this is to really develop fundamental knowledge and understanding of chemical process and reactions at molecular and atomic levels. We want you to incorporate different disciplines in this research, in particular from math and physics. So you will understand life and other matters at a molecular level. In material chemistry, this is connected to inorganic and organic chemistry. Basically, we want you to know how you're able to make new materials to better our life. And finally, in chemical biology, this is in the intersection between chemistry and biology. We want you to understand biology. Also, we want you to intervene in biology, in particular, disease processes. And in this program, a lot of diagnostic tools and also therapeutic tools will be developed. In the chemistry department, there are also centers to help you and faculty members to achieve higher research goals. For example, Zhejiang Laboratory of Energy and Carbon Neutrality. This lab is focused on energy mass conversion and transfer of renewable energy to address this vital scientific and also societal topic. In China, we want to reach peak carbon emission by 2030 and carbon neutrality before 2060. And this laboratory is addressing critical technical and scientific questions in this goal. The key lab of precise synthesis of functional molecules of Zhejiang province is focused to achieve rapid construction of libraries of bioactive functional molecules and efficient synthesis of novel functional materials. So this lab will generate libraries of molecules that are used in different programs, including chemical biology in chemistry department, also School of Life Sciences. Drugs and diagnostic tools can be developed from these libraries. The Center for Artificial Photosynthesis for Solar Fields is another addition to the energy chemistry part of chemistry department. The focus is on chemical process at complex solid gas, gas solid, and solid solid cellular liquid interface to achieve effective conversion from light to usable energy by our daily life. The research is also supported by the research facilities at Caltech, at Westlake. That would include the Instrumentation and Service Center for Molecular Sciences. And this is to really provide instruments to characterize the molecular level details of materials and also molecules. The other center is Instrumentation and Service Center for Physical Sciences. And the focus is to go into more materials and also a solar cell or the like. So these two centers, including another center would be Instrumental and Service Center for Biological Sciences, would provide sufficient and comprehensive facility support for our research on a daily basis. With that, thank you for your attention, and I'll be back to address questions. And next, we'll move to Professor Liu Shi.
Thank you so much.
Sure, Derek.
Okay, and so next up is Dr. Liu Shi, so PI and assistant professor in the Multi-Scale Materials Modeling Laboratory in the Department of Physics. He joined Westlake School of Science in June 2019. He is a Carnegie Fellow at the Carnegie Institution for Science in Washington, D.C. He completed his PhD from the University of Pennsylvania in 2015. He graduated in 2019 with a BS in Chemical Physics from the University of Science and Technology of China. He's a recipient of numerous prestigious awards, including the American Physical Society Nichols Metropolis Award in Computational Physics in 2017 and the SEDD Distinguished Fellowship at U.S. Army Research Laboratory in 2018. Without further ado, I will hand the floor off to Dr. Liu.
Great, thank you for the introduction. It's my great pleasure to introduce you the Westlake Fudan Joint PhD in Physics program. As you can see, there's a figure on the left, even though it's a cartoon, but I can assure you the real building looks exactly like this, if not more beautiful. Okay, our physics department has already made great progress in theoretical physics, condensed matter physics, atomic and molecular optical physics, as well as high energy physics and astrophysics. And students in our department will develop a wide range of interests and skills through coursework, experimentation, and very importantly, participation in academic seminars and academic presentations. Weekly, we will invite leading experts in physics to give seminars. Sometimes there are probably too many talks to attend. Our department is smaller than the chemistry department, but the quality of our PI is equally excellent at this point. We have 13 research teams, and focus areas also cover the primary areas of physics, including condensed matter physics, theoretical physics, atomic and molecular physics, and finally optics. We have 40 full-time teachers, including 13 principal investigators. At this point, we have 75 PhD students, include both domestic and international students. Okay, our department have two chair professors, each been the pioneer in their own field. Professor Congjun Wu, he's our department chair and also the director of Laboratory of New States and Matter and their organizing principles. Professor Wu has a wide research interests, including exploration of new states of matter and their deep level organizing principles. I'm quoting the work from Professor Wu Congjun. He's really studying the sociology of electrons. Other research interests include superconductivity, quantum magnetism, orbital physics, topological states, and strongly correlate cold atom systems, mathematical physics, and many others. So in many ways, Professor Wu Congjun is really like a mathematician, but who is really good at physics. We have another chair professor, Alexei Kavoki. He is the director of International Center for Polaritonics. His field of expertise is mainly about physics of light matter coupling and solid state physics. both theoretical and experimental. Professor Kevoking has made several notable contributions to the field of many-body quantum physics of excitons and exciton polaritons. Okay, this slide gives you an overview of our 13 principal investigators. I strongly encourage you to go to the website of School of Science and check their group websites. Here I can only briefly introduce their research areas. Professor Chang Xizheng, he is an expert in low energy electron microscope laboratory. And he's actually developing the next generation low energy electron microscope. Professor Hongfei Wang, he is also a professor in Department of Chemistry. He's developing the really state-of-art nonlinear spectroscopy to reveal the ultra-fast dynamics of molecules, particularly at the liquid-liquid and liquid-solid interface. Professor Jian Li is research area is about condensed matter theory. Professor Jie Wu, he is an expert in superconductors, particularly unconventional superconductors. He is actively developing new methods to synthesize and characterize quantum materials. Professor Lei Sun, he's also a professor in Department of Chemistry, is working on molecular quantum device and quantum information. Professor Pavlos Savidis, he's the director of quantum optoelectronics. Professor Rui Hua He, he's an expert on advanced surface analysis in the physics laboratory. He really has the coolest laboratory in Department of Physics and probably in the whole university. I strongly encourage you to visit his lab to check those state-of-art facilities. My research area is about multi-scale material modeling. Is really trying to combine and formally isolate methods and to predict emergent phenomena of complex materials, particularly functional oxides. Professor Shuigang Xu, his laboratory is about 2D materials and quantum transport. He's using 2D materials, particularly graphene, to explore those novel physics, focusing on strongly correlated physics. Professor Simon is the leading expert in quantum optomechanics, and Professor Xiaolin, he's using his research focuses about quantum transport and the extreme conditions, particularly at extremely low temperature, just a few millikelvin. Professor Wei Zhu is a theoretician, and he focused on strongly correlated and topological condensed matter theory. His research results have direct impact on quantum and computing. Professor Zhi Ren is really an expert on synthesizing complicated solid-state materials, especially high entropy topological materials. Okay, so as I explained earlier, our physics program is a joint program between Westlake University and Fudan University. I think many of you know that Fudan University is one of the best universities in China, and therefore students enrolled in our program will benefit from faculty mentoring and resource from two of China's best physics programs. Students will develop a strong foundation in four major branches of contemporary physics, that is high energy physics, cosmology, AMO, and condensed matter physics. Okay, this is the outline, the timeline of PhD program in physics. It is pretty much the same as the PhD program in chemistry. The first year, you are mostly taking courseworks. By the end of the first year, you will need to defend your thesis proposal. And this is really a great opportunity to show you what you really want to do during your PhD program. You, of course, will do a lot of literature survey and have discussions with your mentoring advisor. And really, you will have a lot of flexibilities to really explore something new and important. By the end of second year, you will need to pass the qualification exam. This is mandatory. If you pass the qualification exam, then your main task is to do your research as proposed. Sometime in year 3, you will have this so-called midterm meeting with your thesis committee. It is also a great opportunity to show your research progress and discuss with your committee members what have you accomplished, what are the remaining tasks, and what help you need from other PIs. By the end of year 4, if everything goes well, you will defend your PhD thesis. This slide shows the courses offered at this point in Department of Physics. The courses highlighted in blue are compulsory, while the remaining ones are electives. The 4 core courses are condensed matter theory, condensed matter physics laboratory, quantum statistics physics, and advanced quantum mechanics. I think the list will become longer very soon, since we soon will have new PIs joining our department. Okay, the 4 research areas, theoretical physics, condensed matter physics, AMO, and optics, they are not separate. Actually, they are strongly intertwined. To be honest, in most cases, the best science often emerge from the overlapping areas. So in the following few slides, I will just quickly go over the main research areas within each direction or discipline. Theoretical physics is mainly to use theory, and in some cases supported by numerical calculations, to understand quantum gravity, field theory, condensed matter theory, atomic and molecular physics, as well as quantum information. So even though it is core theoretical physics, almost all researchers in this field will, particularly in our department, have strong and really vibrant collaborations with experimental groups. Okay, the condensed matter physics study various novel physical phenomena generated by the coupling of charges, spins, orbits, and lattice in correlated electronic systems, low-dimensional electronic systems, topological states, and other systems. So it's about the emergent phenomena arising from these coupled degrees of freedom. So this field, this research area, is committed to develop a new physical property control methods, new characterization methods and technologies, featuring the exploration of the application basis of new quantum and energy materials. So AMO, atomic and molecular physics, study boson-Einstein condensates, superfluidity, and new physical and effects of interaction between new light fields and matter. A hallmark feature of this field is to develop the most accurate method, okay, to investigate cold collision kinetics of atoms and molecules at atomic and molecular levels. So the breakthroughs in this field include the study of optophysics in cold atomic optical lattice, exploring boson-Einstein condensation and the superfluid phenomena in new systems, the establishment of new molecular imaging methods based on electron optics, and the study of molecular dynamics. And finally, the field of optics focus on light-induced superconductivity, both laser polariton spintronics, and then quantum polarization. So it studied real-time dynamics of conventional and unconventional dynamic phenomena and the new topological entities. So the breakthroughs in this field, in many cases, will have a very quick and direct world impact, a real-world impact, including polariton lasers, gyroscope, optical switching, spin switching, and optical integrated circuits, and optical quantum technology. Okay, the Department of Physics has access to state-of-art research facilities. There are multiple research platforms within the Department of Physics. So Zhejiang Key Laboratory of Quantum Materials is an international platform for cutting-edge and characteristic research in the field of quantum materials. We really think quantum materials could be the new silicon that is the foundation of next generation technologies. So this provincial lab concentrate on the research strands of Westlake University in 3 aspects: their quantum material preparation, experimental measurement, theory and calculation. So the picture here is a real picture taken from Professor Ruihua He's lab, and he's also the director of this Zhejiang Key Laboratory of Quantum Materials. Okay. International Center of Polaritonics, and this is a group picture, and you can see Professor Alexei Kovoki is the director of this international center. This lab focused on the use of quasi-particle derived from the coupling of photons and electrons to study physical phenomena and applications, including superconductivity and superfluidity. So it is composed of 3 groups. The theory group is led by Chair Professor Alexei Kovoki. Quantum Optoelectronics Laboratory is led by Associate Professor Dr. Pablo Savidis. And we also have a company laboratory as well. And at the school level, we have material science public experimental platform. It is equipped with many state-of-art instruments. For the time being, I'm not going to list all of them. So the students in physics department will have full access to this great experiment platform. I also want to add that Westlake University has the state-of-art supercomputing center, a high-performance center. So students in the field of computational physics will have access to a great computing power. Okay, with this, I will end my presentation and thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, now we'd like to open it up to a Q&A session. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And then if we have any questions from members in the audience.
Hi, Derek and professors. Yeah, we do have some questions from the audience. The first one is about the English language requirement. So is English proficiency certificate from Lash University will be okay for a PhD application?
Yes, that's also acceptable. So essentially there's the IELTS, there's the TOEFL, but then if your master's degree was at a university where all the classes were conducted in English, then that will work as well. So you can also go to your registrar and send us a letter of English proficiency.
Okay, got it. So the next question here, I think this is not like directly related to chemistry or physics program, but I do remember Westlake University have a electronic science and engineering program for the PhD program. And yes,
so
we have this one student who is interested in this program. Yeah, so maybe, and also about scholarships for that particular program, if there's any.
Sure. Well, it's the same kind of fellowship. So essentially for all of our PhD programs for international students, if you are accepted to any of our PhD programs, you would get that Westlake fellowship. And so that the same thing would apply. So covering all of your tuition and also having the stipend as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So for this fellowship for the PhD program, will students receive the fellowship for the whole duration of the program, or are there any additional scholarships opportunities at Westlake?
Sure. The Westlake Fellowship will definitely be the kind of the main form of funding, I would say, for the first few years. We're always expanding, but we'll have new forms of scholarships in the future. Probably some through donations. We'll have an expansion of those kinds of scholarships. Also, there are government scholarships, which we plan to have in the future as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So other than that, I think we can encourage students as well. If you guys have any questions, anything at all to Westlake Universities, or maybe to the PhD in chemistry or PhD in physics program, you can write those down on the Q&A box so we can discuss them together. And there are some questions here about the PhD program still. So another thing is also about funding. So continuing from the fellowship that we discussed. So what kind of funding support available for conducting research for students' dissertation?
I can answer this question. So the funding resources coming from different places. In China, the funding is coming from the central government, the province, and also the city. And we also have private foundations in China that provide fundings for research. In addition, if the laboratory has collaborations with industry, such as a company, they will also receive funding from those places. The scholarship for international students are guaranteed during the duration of graduate study. And the same is true primarily for domestic students. The stipend is composed of support from the government and also university, and the lab will provide part of the stipend. If a lab is having problems supporting stipend of particular students, the departments would help, because we really we really treasure our students' experience at Westlake. In particular, in graduate school, we do not want any of the students to be troubled by the lack of funding. So I think this is really special at Westlake.
Definitely, it is really special at Westlake University. And I believe that this is like an interesting aspect of being a part of Westlake University. And therefore, I assume that this program will be very popular for international students. So is there any quota maybe, or any plan of how many international students that will you accept for the PhD in physics and also the PhD in chemistry program?
Do you want to comment on physics before I comment on chemistry?
So, okay. So because at this point, our department is not as large in chemistry department. So we have 13 PIs. So usually we plan to enroll probably like 20 to 30 PhD students per year. That's the number in my mind. Yeah. But that's the total number. But of course, how many international students we're going to enroll? I don't think there any cap. You know, it all depends on the quality of the applicants.
Yep.
Right. So I think the same is true for chemistry. Graduate admission is merit-based. There's not a quota for students who are coming from certain regions or countries. As a result, the international students and domestic students are competing on the same basis. And chemistry department has a larger graduate program. We normally enroll about 60 students a year, including domestic and international students. And the admission process includes application and also interview. And the final decision is not based on a single parameter of the application. It is based on the comprehensive evaluation of the applicant, including the paper-based materials such as CV and transcript, and also the interview, how you present your research, how you answer questions, and all that will be measured. So there is not a certain limit or ratio between how we want to admit between domestic and international students.
Awesome. So we have a new question from the audience. So the question is, I have done a Master's of Science in Physics, but my research area in material science. So can I apply for a PhD in physics in condensed matter physics?
Yeah, of course. We don't have any limits on the major of your master or your undergrad. As Professor Zhang just mentioned, it's merit based. It depends on the quality of your application materials as well as your performance at the interview. So we really value independent thinking, creative thinking, and problem solving skills. So strongly encourage this student to apply for our physics program.
Great. So talking about the program itself and also research direction and everything. So the PhD program at Westlake University seems very interdisciplinary. So could you provide more information about how students could explore their interest in the two research fields?
Sure. So in chemistry, we normally ask students to pick their PI in the beginning of their graduate school or even before. And this is the special system of China. But students do have the freedom to explore other research areas, including in the department and outside of the department. There have been cases where students found out that their interest had changed, or their interest was not that they were all hoping for. So we help students to find other labs, and we help students even to find labs in a different school. And recently we have students transferred to School of Engineering just because his or her interest was really changing from chemistry to material, and in particular material energy application. The process was very smooth, and there was no, I would say, worry or a struggle of the students in this process. We really help students to explore their true interest, because we believe innovation is coming from interest.
Yeah. Professor Liu, anything to add?
Okay, I can give a real example because I have one student. He used to be he used to be in this PhD program in School of Engineering, and maybe after first year, after maybe more than 1 year research, he probably find that his true interest is in physics, particularly in computational physics, and he came to me. And the process very smooth, and now he is a student in my research group. So I think the bottom line is all the PIs at Westlake University really want to support their students, okay? So to really offer this great platform to encourage students to explore really new, to explore their interests, to do something important and novel. That's my
right.
That's my experience.
Okay, awesome. So we have 2 more questions, I think. So another thing is about international opportunities. So it is going to be an exciting experience for students to study at Westlake University alone. Just to be able to come to China, that is already an exciting thing. But how about international opportunities when they are already a student of Westlake University? So is there any opportunities to maybe conduct their research abroad, or maybe present in some international conferences, or maybe to study abroad at Westlake University's partner universities?
Yes, so for the graduate program, study abroad is often an option for humanities or arts or human sciences. For physical sciences, such as chemistry and physics, such opportunities are also often collaborative research that students are going to other countries in other laboratories for research in a different lab. But the lab is collaborating with the advisor of the student. And Westlake University has faculty, in particular in chemistry and physics, we have faculty coming from different countries. Like I was a professor at Penn State chemistry department. So I have a lot of friends in United States, Europe, Australia, and other countries. So when we have collaborative projects, very often we'll have students visiting us and students going abroad. And in particular, at the post-pandemic era, this process will become more of a routine. I don't know whether that answers your question.
Yeah, I can add on that. There's a university program that actually applies to all graduate students. So if they, of course it is, so for each graduate student, if they're going to give a talk or just give a poster at any international conference, they will get a stipend and funding support from the university. But of course, each graduate student will have only one such support during their whole PhD program. So I think that's a very generous support.
Yeah, exactly.
University.
Yeah, I think that's a very supportive way of how Westlake University try to support and create like the best environment for their studies, for their students to grow. So we have another question here from student. So his background is in electronic science and computer science. And then he is interested in design, fabrication, and electrical characterization of surface type molecular DYU light sensor using organic semiconductor materials. So I think this is related to electronic engineering. I'm sorry, I'm not really familiar on this, so I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So his question is, can I do this research in physics or chemistry department?
Yeah, a lot of devices are made by molecules that are synthesized in chemistry labs. So very often we have collaborations with the labs in physics and electronic engineering to develop these materials or molecules for devices. This research can have a main body in the chemistry department or in EE. In any case, the student would be encouraged to apply and have a joint advisor that would help the student to have both sides of the research covered, that include the development of the material and also the instrumentation of the apparatus. And I think Professor Liu can add on the physics side.
So I think this is a great question because it really highlights that many cutting edge, research are highly interdisciplinary. So, in my point of view, it doesn't really matter whether it's chemistry or physics. So as long as the student really want to pursue that research area, I strongly encourage the students to go to the website, Department of Chemistry, Department of Physics, and check, which PI he would like to work with. That's my suggestion. So don't become or get limited, by your previous background. Yeah.
So that actually brought me to the question about the previous education background from the students itself. So does it mean that students have to have a previous degree in physics or chemistry to apply, or do you actually welcome students from related background to apply for the PhD program?
We certainly do welcome students from non-chemistry majors to apply. In particular, nowadays our research are all very interdisciplinary. We want students from other backgrounds to be in the lab. My lab have students who are coming from polymer science, chemistry, cell biology, and also bioengineering. And the mixture of such expertise in the lab would foster discussions between the students, and they learn from each other. And then I learn from them. As a result, our research is becoming more and more exciting because we incorporate this diverse background into our program. So this is very essential for chemistry department. When I said we celebrate our diversity, we also include the diversity in the research background, educational background, and this diversity is more important in our nowadays cutting edge research. So we certainly welcome students who are from other areas to apply, in particular if their research topic is related to chemistry.
Yeah, I completely agree with Professor Zhang. Yeah.
All right, one final question here. It's about the postdoctoral opportunities at Westlake University. So are there any postdoctoral opportunities at Westlake University, especially for students who have graduated from any of the Westlake University's PhD program?
So your question is, do we welcome students who graduate from our labs to conduct postdoctoral research at Westlake? Is that
That's right. And also maybe for students who graduated from other PhD programs?
Right. Certainly, we have a very large program of postdoctoral fellows. At Westlake, we also have a fellowship specialized for women, that is distinguished women scientists as a postdoctoral scholar. And the purpose of doing so is to foster these PhDs in their independent research capacity. And my lab has 7 postdocs right now. And there's another postdoc who is gonna join in the end of June. This is after his graduation from another university. So my lab is only one representation of chemistry and physics that welcome graduate students from other universities to apply after they receive the PhD degree. We also would consider students from our university after they graduate to stay in the lab as a postdoc, but we do hope that our students would go to other places to gain experience in another field. Either this is a subfield in physics or chemistry, or better, to go to a totally different field to receive interdisciplinary training. And we believe that we are accommodative to any type of student's intention, as long as the training is beneficial for their growth. So we are not really limiting opportunities for students. As a result, our postdoctoral program is very open-minded.
Great.
I just want to add that there are many postdoc opportunities in Department of Physics, and candidate can send an email to potential PIs, and I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer, Professor Zhang and Professor Liu, and also Derek. So before we end this amazing webinar today about PhD in physics and also chemistry, do you have any final advice or final tips that you'd like to share with the audience?
You know, I would want to tell the audience online, please look into our website and apply. If you do not apply, opportunity to be admitted, right? The research here is very exciting, and life here in particular is a lot of fun. I lived for 17 years in the United States, and I moved back in of 2021, and I'm still yet exploring the city of Hangzhou and nearby cities. I'm still exploring the broad research fields at Westlake.
Mhm.
I welcome you to join us, and I think you'll spend fantastic 4 years here.
Mhm.
Okay, I will just keep it short. I think I just want to say, at your age, no need to be afraid. Just try something new and apply.
Okay, you just make sure to apply then. Derek, anything to add?
I guess for my advice will be to facilitate how to go back to that QR code. So if you would like to apply, you can go to this right here. So once again, if you'd like our contact information, there's the email for myself or for our department. Then if you'd like to scan the QR code, it'll take you directly to the admissions page and also information about the application materials and other information. There's also links going to the School of Science as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, so thank you so much, everybody. So for the audience, if you still have any further questions about the PhD admissions or about PhD that are offered by the School of Science at Westlake University, you can make sure to scan the QR code over there. So you can also email Derek and also email Westlake University directly to drop your questions and also to apply. Don't forget to apply now. And Westlake University is welcoming you to join their amazing PhD programs in their Hangzhou campus. So I think that's the end of today's info session with Westlake University. Thank you so much, Professor Zhang, Professor Liu, and also Derek for sharing with us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day, everybody.